economic development in Hunt County. Period. We are not a political pack. We have no political representation for anything. Period. We are here simply to provide education to Hunt County from a standpoint of supporting the economic development. We've got 16 people on our steering committee. So if y'all could, I'm going to say all y'all names, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So everybody on the steering committee is here. Please stand up. Just to recognize Shelley, Pam, you talked today. They put in a lot of work for us. It's a beautiful thing. So like I said, today in our 10th event, I want to tell you about the next one that's coming up. And by the way, all you have to do is go to huntcountypta.com. huntcountypta.com is our website. It has all the events, has the past events, has links to YouTube if you ever want to see what we did in the past, the other 10. But the next one we have coming up is going to be October 5th. And we're doing it at Fletcher Warren, right? Fletcher Warren is going to be a little bit over lunch, and it's a meeting tonight for everybody from the folks that are running to replace our state house trustee. It's vacant. So we're going to do a meeting candidate tonight. It's going to be, they'll be able to do a little bit of talking, but we're going to try this time to make them, hopefully get them to talk specifically about how they're going to help us in Hunt County. Okay? And we got the steering committee, two folks on the steering committee put together the questions for it. But we're going to try real hard this time to try to get to talk more about what they're going to do for our county. Because that's one of the things that we all feel needs more than. Okay? So we're going to do the best we can to hold them accountable to that and try to get that to happen. Once again, you go to the website. But today, we have our beautiful Dr. Kim Anglin speaking to us today about what's going on here at PJC Greenville. Which, by the way, I went to JUCO, my wife went to junior college, both my boys went to junior college, both my boys went to PJC and went to this actual campus. Brett graduated from AU Commerce under his tutelage as the dean of engineering back in the day. He got an industrial engineering degree. He's now working with an industrial engineer over at Campus Paris. So they went to the junior college deal. He, my younger one, he went to junior college, and I think both of them got the president's scholarship too. He's going to UT Tyler right now. We'll go through a beautiful engineering thing. But the big part of it is we all started, all of our entire family started in junior college. It is a great place to get your basics at a very, and y'all know, everybody here doesn't go without cheap items. So, we all know that. And to come here and get what you can get for the price is unbelievable. And I don't think after the college now, with what they're doing here, we're doing more vocational, more training, things like that, which is what Anthony talked about. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see what these guys are doing. So, I'm going to try to read his name. It's great introduction here. She's been the president of junior college, Paris Junior College since 2003. That's 20 years. That's pretty long. That's a long time. She's actually a CPA, which is interesting. You do that for free on the side? No. She served 2 terms on the American Association of Community Colleges Board of Directors and on the Southern Association of Colleges and School Board of Trustees. She's chaired the Community Technical College Formula Funding Advisory Committee. You know, can you make the committee maybe small? Not good already. And that was from 2019. She's been recognized twice as one of the 50 fastest growing community colleges in the nation. In the nation. Twice. I think that's pretty awesome. She's also was recognized in 2012 Excellent in Education Award from the Texas Association of Businesses. PJC was selected as one of 30 community colleges, and once again, nationwide. Does not take one of 30 community colleges nationwide to participate in the AACC Guidance Pathway project in 2016. Her focus, and this is what I believe in and is awesome, is basically making college affordable and available to the residents of the college service area to focus to make sure they're trained and the workforce to meet the needs of our community and our businesses, which is what
I got a lot.
Now you got maybe 3.
Okay, thanks. Thank you all very much for coming today. It's our honor and pleasure to be able to host this lunch today and to have an opportunity to let you know what all we're doing in Hunt County and the exciting things that are in store for us this next year. You may have noticed as you drove in today the construction trailer out to the west and the large fenced off area. We are getting ready. I looked today, piers, September 10th, I think, is when they're set to start drilling piers, but the dirt work will start sometime next week on the land out here, but we'll be building a workforce training center in that space. For me, it's actually a dream coming true, because when I came to Paris Junior College 20 years ago, August 3rd of 2003, one of my dreams from the time I started in community college was to have regional workforce training centers to where high school kids could come in and get training for jobs to where they would have a higher level skill and could meet workforce needs. And that's something, and I started out in industry, and not many people know this, but I started out in industry, and then I was an accountant, and I wanted to get a master's, and I was living in Fort Worth, working in Fort Worth, and I couldn't afford TCU tuition. But if I went to work there, I could go to school for free. And so I went to work at TCU as an accountant and got my MBA. But in that journey at TCU and working at TCU, and I moved up pretty rapidly, but I started doing some soul searching and thought, what do I want to do the rest of my life? And at that point, I thought, I want to go work in a community college, and I want to go teach accounting in a community college where I know I can make a difference and where the students that I have truly appreciate the opportunity to go to college. And so that's kind of why I started doing what I do. And then I decided, if I want to really be able to make a difference, I got to be a president. So I started working on a doctorate so I could become a community college president. And in coming to Paris and being president, it gave me the opportunity to start kind of making sure that dream came true. And with what the state has done over the last several years, it's put us in a position to where we know this is the time for this. Never been a better time, never been a greater need in the state of Texas that community colleges are training workers and partnering with high schools to train workers to make sure we have that workforce of the future. When we bought this land in 2006, I was working then with Robert Winningham, who was the executive director of the Board of Development, and he was helping me look for land. And the stipulations that I had, I said, it's got to be land that is easily accessed off of I-30 to where all of the high schools in Hunt County could access us and have access to workforce training someday. And then this land, found out about it, and to me it was the perfect location, access to 30, but sitting just to the west of Greenville High School. And it gave us a position to where I felt like young people from Greenville that thought college was never a possibility could see us sitting here and know I can at least get 2 years of college. And that was why this site was ultimately selected. 172 acres here. We have a master plan for a full build-out of a campus that could eventually be 15 to 20,000 students as Greenville grows. So here is our plan for the future. We're building a workforce training center. It's 21,000 inside, 23,000 if you include the area just around the building. It will have classrooms in the front. In the back, it has 4 large open bays, extra tall. All 4 bays will have gas, air, electricity out, multiple outlets, to where the space can actually be flexible space, and the programs change over time as the needs of Hunt County industry changes. So initially, we plan on having these 4 programs in the 4 bays. We're going to do mechatronics, which is a cross between mechanical and electrical technicians, industrial maintenance. The Greenville Board of Development has worked with local manufacturers and PJC, and we actually have a Department of Labor certified apprenticeship program for industrial maintenance. We're ready to go on that once we find an instructor to teach the industrial maintenance. But that is going to be one of the programs that we put in here is mechatronics, industrial maintenance. Those students that come out of that program are in high demand to where most often they don't ever graduate with an associate degree because they get hired by area industry before they ever graduate. We've had that program in Paris for a number of years, and it is by demand from industry. That and welding are the 2 programs that we have in Paris that are in the highest demand, and nursing. So we'll have mechatronics. We're going to have an electrician program. We're going to have HVAC and plumbing. So we'll do the plumbing portion that goes along with HVAC, but have a full-fledged HVAC program. And then the 4th bay will start out with airframe mechanics. And one of the things that I'm most excited about, and you really see the whole possibility, the potential in this, is the partnership that we've developed with L3 Harris. And that is starting apprenticeships there at L3 Harris. Then pre-apprenticeships that would partner with high schools. And then the airframe mechanic program to where we'll start training here, and our goal is over the next 5 years to have a full airframe and power plant school here in Greenville. Those are some of the highest demand jobs in this region. If you look at the needs of L3, if you look at the needs of the airlines, everybody we train will have plenty of job opportunities. That will also partner with all the high schools in Hunt County to start out with doing some dual credit in aviation. And we're going to do in the 2nd class in the dual credit aviation training, we're going to do some NC3 certification, which means that these students that take that class can continue on in the airframe training, but they're going to have skills that they could go to work in a lot of different industries here in Hunt County. We just received a $305,000 JET grant to buy that initial NC3 training equipment, the trainers that we'll need, and we've done that to use to train dual credit students. So partnering with the high schools to offer dual credit and these work workforce training programs to where the high school students have additional programs, additional opportunities available to them. This building is scheduled to open in August of '24, so we plan on starting classes next fall. So this time next year, we'll be inviting you to a grand opening of a new building. We also, for a number of years, have done EMT training here. We do some of our nursing training here, and we do networking, and we've done Cisco work also on the computer information system side. So we will be looking at growing other workforce programs. And these, when I say workforce programs, some of these are done in a certificate format to where it's 1 year or less. We've also been doing some non-credit, short-term training with industry credentials. So we look for what's in high demand, and then we do it non-credit where we don't have to worry about meeting the course structure for a credit class, but get students in, get them trained, get them some type of certification where they can go straight to work. And then if they want to come back and work towards a full degree in that area, then they can do that, and we'll articulate their training there into college credit. We did that last summer here in Hunt County in several IT fields. We partnered with Dallas College. They got a very large DOL training grant, and they were concerned that they weren't going to meet their numbers, and so they asked us to help them meet their numbers. And so we were able to use their grant to train Hunt County people. And I have to give Dallas College a big shout out because they're doing that a lot with us, where they know if they've got a grant, a federal grant, that they're struggling to meet their numbers, they share with us, and we help and provide training to residents of this area. One of our big focuses, and Brent works on this from A&M Commerce's standpoint, but it is economic development. It's us being here and available when the Board of Development is recruiting a new industry to meet with them. The community colleges have access to this Texas Workforce Commission's Skills Development Fund. And on a new industry coming in, we can help train their employees for the startup. An existing industry, we can help train. If they're bringing in a new line, we can apply for a skills development grant and get those training dollars for that industry to use. We're the fiscal agent. We schedule everything, we oversee it, but it's not necessarily us doing the teaching. If it's very specialized training they need, then we bring that in from outside for that particular industry. And we see that oftentimes the community colleges, we call ourselves the workhorses of the state and economic development engines of the state, because our focus is so much on the workforce training and just meeting those industry needs of our local communities. This last legislative session, there was a bill that was passed that changed how community colleges are funded. It's going to change the way we do business, and it's going to change the culture of how community colleges operate and how our faculty think over the next few years. There's going to be a lot of change, and our faculty will find out all about it tomorrow at convocation, but we've been moved to performance funding. And we get funded when our students successfully transfer to a university and when our students are trained in a credential of value and get a job where they make a living wage. So we're in a position now, which really we all should have been in for years, but it puts a burden on every faculty member to make sure every student learns. It's not totally about the grade anymore, it's about assuring that they learn. Workforce programs, they've got to master the skills so that they get a good job and they are good at it and they increase their salaries over time. So performance funding, our funding this year was based on our numbers from the last 3 years, an average of the last 3 years. So Paris Junior College, actually, we came out very well because our work in pathways, and we've been doing that since 2016, has been focusing on getting students, doing career exploration up front, getting students on a pathway, making sure they stay on that pathway, making sure they graduate, and making sure if it's a terminal degree with us, if it's a workforce certificate or an associate of applied science, making sure they get a job. So we've been doing it, but we're going to have to do some mindset shifts now in how people think. But we're very excited about it. Another thing in this bill, they added, because there was a commission put together, just like the public school commission was put together about 4 or 5 years ago. And it had 4 legislators on it. But as they worked on, this is not just about looking at how community colleges is funding. Let's look at what our goals are. Our goals are making sure we have a trained workforce for the state of Texas, because we have industry that's moved into the state and everybody's looking for employees right now. And so focusing on that goal. The other goal was, if you look at Texas, right now we're 36th in the United States in levels of educational attainment. 36 out of 50 states. So their second goal was to increase the educational attainment level across the state of Texas. How did they do that? They decided that way was through dual credit and reaching young people in high schools that have not had access to dual credit in the past because they couldn't afford it. And so they added something called the FAST program, Financial Aid for Swift Transfer. And research shows that if a high school student or a college student takes at least 15 college hours successfully, if it's a high school student and they take 15 hours of college credit while they're in high school, they're more likely to continue on after they graduate from high school. If it's a college student that starts, if they finish 15 hours in that first semester, they're more likely to stay, persist, and go on and finish. And so this FAST program awards us by providing financial aid for these students that are on free and reduced lunches in the high schools. So they get free tuition. They can take college credit while in high school for free. If any of the high school students complete 15 hours of college credit from us, then we get a point and we get bonus dollars from the state. Same way with our traditional college students. When they finish 15 hours, then we get a certain amount of dollar allotment for that. So that's how performance funding is going to work. When they complete, if they complete a certificate, if they complete 4 certificates, if they complete an associate degree, we get set amounts of money for each one of those. And that's how our funding is going to be. So success of our students, it's always been important, but it becomes even more important because that's how we're funded. now. It's no longer on just how many people we put in seats. It's helping students be successful. I'd be glad to answer. I got to mention one other thing. Brent's sitting right over here. When we developed our pathways, all of our pathways, if it's going on towards a bachelor's degree, they're mapped to Texas A&M Commerce. The majority of our students that transfer to A&M Commerce, and so we go over to campus, put our faculty on a bus, and take them every couple of years to where they can sit down with faculty and deans and advisors from A&M Commerce to make sure they're getting exactly what they need for that seamless transfer, and even down to course content in some areas, making sure that we're teaching what A&M Commerce wants when they get our students. So it's a great partnership that we have with the university, and together, this county, y'all got it going for you. So I'm glad to answer any questions. A year. I don't like to mess around on those. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it in 12 months. Yes, ma'am. We're running, and the COVID hit us hard. And we're just started to go back up, but we're going to be probably 4,700 this fall. But I expect with the new center, at least 500 students that first fall. New students. Yes, sir. Okay. The community colleges asked for a commission to be established. And we had actually embraced formula funding back in 2012, 13. And that year, I chaired the Formula Funding Advisory Committee for the state. And there was a lot of push talk about performance in the legislature then. And I said, let's do it instead of letting them dictate what happens. Let's put out a proposal in our proposed funding for next year. And so at that point, 10% of our funding moved to performance. So we've actually been under some performance since 2013, and then it had gone up to 25%, but now it's almost all. Well, the commission, though, this commission, they spent 11 months, and it had 4 community college presidents on it. It was chaired by Woody Hunt, who's a businessman out of El Paso. And so there were business representatives on it. But they had people come in and testify every meeting on different aspects. So they heard from business and industry, they heard from education leaders, they heard from futurists, everything. And then this is what they came up with. Yeah. A huge, that one thing coming out of this last legislative session to me was the most incredible thing that they've done in years. Yeah, long time. So, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, but it was voted on in the House first, 1 against vote. Yeah. And on the Senate side, it was unanimous. So it's rare that a bill goes through the legislature like that, but never any negative at all about it through the year. They told us up front, you 50 colleges have to stick together because y'all usually shoot yourselves in the foot because you don't like what somebody else is getting. And so we made a pact up front. We're all going to support this. We're going to all lobby for it. We're all going to support it. And it came, by doing that, the best thing I think that's happened in many years happened. Yeah. Thank you all.
What a beautiful thing to have something like that right here in Greenville and sort of doing that. It's awesome. So thank you once again, Dr. Anglin, for letting us know. I can't give you a year, for instance. It's pretty good. I want to also let y'all know, if y'all have any topics that y'all want to see in reference to economic development for Hunt County, reach out to the steering committee folks that you saw this bit up earlier, talking about it, looking for any other topics you have. We're going to do meet the candidate on October 5th. We're probably going to have another Anglin Commerce update, probably be a little ways out. But we're also, one of the other things we're doing is we're working on getting CATA together with their Economic Development Community Chamber to give an update of everything that's going on in CATA. So they're in the process of working out some detail for that, the location. So locations, sponsorships, and topics, reach out to anybody you saw here on the steering committee. Let us know, and we'll see what we can do to bring them here. But God bless y'all. Y'all be careful.
This video has been brought to you by GEUS. GEUS is your community-owned provider for electric, internet, cable TV,